This is disc number 3.
August 2032. The Settlers.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The men of Earth came to Mars.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They came because they were afraid or unafraid, because they were happy or unhappy, because they felt like pilgrims or did not feel like pilgrims. There was a reason for each man.
Leaving bad wives,
bad jobs, bad towns.
coming to find something or leave something or get something.
To dig up something or bury something.
Or leave something alone. They were coming in small dreams or large dreams.
Or none at all.
There's work for you in the sky. See Mars.
And the men shuffled forward, only a few at first, a double score, for most men felt the great illness in them before the rocket fired into space. And this disease was called the loneliness.
Because when you see your hometown dwindle the size of your fist, and then lemon size, and then pin size, and then vanish in the fire wake.
You felt you had never been born. There was no town.
You were nowhere, with space all around.
Nothing familiar.
And when the state of Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, and Montana vanished into cloud seas.
And when the United States shrank to a misted island, and the entire planet Earth became a muddy baseball tossed away, then you were alone.
Wandering in the meadows of space.
On your way to a place you couldn't imagine.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So it was unusual that the first men were few. The number grew steadily in proportion to the census of Earthmen already on Mars. There was comfort in numbers. But the lonely ones had to stand by themselves.
December 2032. The Green Morning. Benjamin Driscoll. I remember my arrival on Mars. Like 1,000 others, I thought, how do I fit here? What will I do? Is there a job for me? Then I fainted.
You'll be all right.
What is that stuff?
You'll be all right.
What happened?
Fainted. The air's pretty thin. Some can't take it. I think you'll have to go back to Earth.
No, I'll be all right. I've got to stay here. That's when I noticed that there were no trees. No trees at all, as far as you could look in any direction. The land was down upon itself. A land of black loam, but nothing on it, not even grass. Of course! In school they told a story about Johnny Appleseed walking across America planting apple trees. Well, I'm doing more. I'm planting oaks, elms, and maples. Every kind of tree. Aspens and deodars and chestnuts. Instead of making just fruit for the stomach, I'm making air for the lungs. When those trees grow up some year, think of the oxygen they'll make. Let me up. I've got to see the coordinator.
It'll be months, if not years, before organized planning can begin. All our food is frosted, brought from Earth. True, some communities have hydroponic plants.
Yes, sir.
But meanwhile, And we'll get what seed we can for you. A little equipment. Space on the rockets is mighty precious now. I'm afraid since these first towns are mining communities, there won't be much sympathy for your tree planting.
But you'll let me do it? They let me do it. Provided with a single motorcycle, its bin full of seeds and sprouts, I parked in the valley wilderness and struck out on foot over land. That was 33 days ago, and I never glanced back. I couldn't look back, for it would sicken my heart. The weather was excessively dry. I doubted any seeds had sprouted. My entire campaign, my 4 weeks of bending and scooping could be lost. So I looked only ahead, going down this wide, shallow valley under the sun, away first town, waiting for the rains to come. Clouds were gathering over the dry mountains. Mars is a place of unpredictable time. The baked hills simmered down into a frosty night. The fire fluttered into sleepy ash. Tonight we should have rain. Rain! Rain! The great black lid of sky had cracked and rushed down. 10 billion rain crystals. It rained for 2 hours. And then stopped. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. I changed into dry clothes and went happily to sleep. The sun broke upon the land and I woke, but I waited before arising. I had worked and waited a long, hot month, always moving forward and never looking back. And now, I decided to turn and face the direction from which I came. It was a green morning. As far as I could see, the trees were standing up against the sky. Not one tree, not two, not a dozen, but the thousands I had planted in seed and sprout, and not little trees, no, not saplings, not little tender shoots, but great trees, huge trees, as tall as 10 men, green and huge and round and full, trees shimmering their metallic leaves, trees whispering, trees in a line over the hill, lemon trees, lime trees, redwoods and mimosas and oaks and elms and aspens, cherry, maple, ash, apple, orange, eucalyptus, stung by a tumultuous rain, nourished by alien and magical soil, and even as I watched, new branches were growing, popping open, new buds. Impossible. This is impossible. And the air, it's like a moving current, like a mountain river. Oxygen. Oxygen blowing from the green trees. You can see it shimmer in high crystal billows. Oxygen. Fresh, pure, green, cold oxygen, turning the valley into a river delta. The town doors will flip wide. People will run out through the new miracle of oxygen, sniffing, gusting in lungfuls of it, cheeks pinking with it, lungs revivified, hearts leaping, and worn bodies lifting into a dance. I took one long, deep drink of green water air, and I fainted. And when I woke again, 5,000 new trees had climbed up into the yellow sun.
February 2033. The Locusts.
The rockets set the meadows afire, turned rock to lava, turned wood to charcoal, transmuted water to steam, made sand and silica into green glass, which lay like shattered mirrors, reflecting the invasion all about. The rockets came like drums beating in the night.
The rockets came like locusts, swarming and settling in blooms of rosy smoke.
And from the rockets ran men with hammers in their hands to beat the strange world into a shape that was familiar to the eye, to bludgeon away all the strangeness. Their mouths fringed with nails so they resembled steel-toothed carnivores, spitting them into their swift hands as they hammered up frame cottages and scuttled over roofs with shingles to blot out the stars. In 6 months, a dozen small towns had been laid down upon the naked planet. In all, some 90,000 people came to Mars. And more on Earth were packing their grips.
August 2033. Night meeting.
Evening. Fill her up.
Yes, please. Kind of alone out here, aren't you, Pop?
Not bad. Clean the windshield.
Yes, thank you. How do you like Mars, Pop?
Fine. Always something new. I made up my mind when I came here last year. I wouldn't expect nothing. We've got to forget Earth and how things were. We've got to look at what we're in here and how different it is.
True.
Yeah, I get a hell of a lot of fun out of just the weather here. It's Martian weather. Hot as hell daytimes, cold as hell nights. I came to Mars to retire in a place where everything is different. An old man needs to have things different. Young people don't want to talk to him. Other people bore the hell out of him. So I thought the best place for me is a place so different that all you gotta do is open your eyes and you're entertained. Got this gas station. Business picks up too much, I'll move back to some other old highway that's not so busy where I can earn just enough to live on and still have time to feel the different things around here.
You got the right idea, Pop.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at anything anymore. I'm just looking, just experiencing. If you can't take Mars for what she is, you might as well go back to Earth. Everything's crazy up here. The soil, the air, the canals, the natives. I never saw any, but I hear they're around. Even my clock acts funny. Even time is crazy up here. Sometimes I feel I'm here all by myself. No one else on the whole damn planet. I'd take bets on it. Sometimes I feel about 8 years old. My body's squeezed up and everything else. Jesus, it's just a place for an old man. Keeps me alert, keeps me happy. You know what Mars is?
What?
It's like the thing I got for Christmas 70 years ago. I don't know if you ever had one. They called them kaleidoscopes. Little bits of crystal and cloth and beads, pretty junk. You held it up to the sunlight and looked in at it, and it took your breath away. All the patterns. Well, that's Mars. Enjoy it. Don't ask it to be nothing else but what it is. Jesus, you know the highway right here?
Yes?
It was built by Martians. It's over 16 centuries old, and it's still in good condition. That's $1.50.
Oh, yes. Here you are.
Thank you, and you have a good night.
Thanks, Pop.
Yes, 16 centuries old.
There is a smell of time in the air tonight. Here's a thought. What does time smell like? Like dust and clocks and people. And if you wondered what time sounded like, it sounded like water running in a dark cave and voices crying and dirt dropping down upon hollow box lids and rain. What does time look like? Like snow dropping silently into a black room? Or it looks like a silent movie in an ancient theater. 100 billion faces falling like those New Year balloons. Down and down into nothing. That's how time smells and looks and sounds. Tonight you could almost touch time. Two hours on the road and time for a break. Where's that thermos of coffee? Nice promontory. Good view of that deserted town down there. Yep. Nice place for a break. What's that? What is that? 6 legs. Huge. Looks like a praying mantis. It's by the car. Can't make a run for it. Covered with green diamonds. It's a machine and a Martian. A Martian. Cold eyes. Hello.
Well,
God, can't understand the language. Did you say hello?
Well, yes, we did.
What did you say?
Yes, we did.
Who are you?
I know it, we get out.
Where are you going? I'm Tomas Gomez. Wait, hey. My head was just touched.
Yeah.
My head was just touched, but no hand touched me.
That's better.
You learned my language? So quick?
Nothing at all.
May I offer you a drink?
Please.
Here you go. Jesus Christ, the cup went right through your hand. Like your hand was mist or something.
Name of the gods. Did you see what happened?
Jesus.
Indeed. Let me try and pick up the cup.
Your hand passes right through it.
My knife. Catch it.
No!
It fell right through your flesh.
No, impossible. Let me get it. You.
I?
Kneeling down here and looking up at you. You're transparent. I can see the stars in the sky. They look like they're inside you, flickering, like jewelry. I can see through you.
And I through you.
What? No, I'm here. I'm alive.
I have flesh. I am alive.
If I'm real, then you must be dead.
No. You.
A ghost.
A phantom.
You mean you can see through me?
Starlight is in your limbs, like icicle daggers, fireflies.
I feel warm again.
Yes. So do I.
I'm drunk. I won't tell anyone about this tomorrow.
Where are you from?
Earth.
What is that?
There. Up there.
When?
We landed a year ago, remember?
No.
And all of you were dead. All but a few. You're rare, don't you know that?
That's not true.
Yes, dead. I saw the bodies, black, in the rooms, in the houses, dead, thousands of them.
That's ridiculous. We're alive.
Mister, you're invaded. Only you don't know it. You must have escaped.
I haven't escaped. There was nothing to escape. What do you mean? I'm on my way to a festival now at the canal, near the Inneal Mountains. I was there last night. Don't you see the city there?
Down there?
Yes, I am pointing.
Wait, that city's been dead thousands of years.
Dead? I slept there yesterday.
And I just drove through it now, and it's a heap. See the broken pillars?
Broken pillars? Why, I see them perfectly. The moonlight helps, and the pillars are upright.
There's dust in the streets.
The streets are clean.
The canals are empty, right there.
The canals are full of lavender wine.
It's dead.
It's alive. You're quite wrong. See the carnival lights? There are beautiful boats as slim as women, and beautiful women with fire flowers in their hands. I can see them. Small, running in the streets down there. That's where I'm going now, to the festival. We'll float on the waters all night long. We'll sing, we'll drink, we'll make love. Can't you see it?
Mister, that city is as dead as a dried lizard. Ask any of our party. Me, I'm on my way to Green City tonight. That's the new colony we just raised, over near Illinois Highway.
No.
You're mixed up. We brought in 1 million board feet of Oregon lumber, and a couple of dozen tons of good steel nails, and hammered together 2 of the nicest little villages you ever saw. Tonight we're warming one of them. A couple of rockets are coming in from Earth, bringing our wives and girlfriends. There'll be barn dances and whiskey.
You say it's over that way.
Here, look over the ledge. Be careful. Look, there are the rockets, see?
No.
Damn it, there they are. Those long silver things.
No.
You're blind.
I see very well. You are the one who does not see.
But that way. You see the new town, don't you?
I see nothing but an ocean and water at low tide.
Mister, that water's been evaporated for 40 centuries.
Now. That is enough.
It's true, I tell you.
Tell me again. You do not see the city the way that I describe it? The pillars very white, the boats very slender, the festival lights? Oh, I see them clearly. And listen, I can hear them singing. It's no space away at all.
No.
And I, on the other hand, cannot see what you describe. Well, I feel ice in my flesh. Could it be?
What?
You say, from the sky.
Earth.
Earth, the name, nothing. But as I came up the pass an hour ago, I felt the strangeness, the road, the light, and for a moment I felt as if I were the last man alive on this world.
So did I.
This can only mean one thing. It has to do with time. Yes. You are a figment of the past.
No, you are from the past.
You are so certain. How can you prove who is from the past and who is from the future? What year is it?
2033.
What does that mean to me?
Nothing.
It is as if I told you that it was the year 4462853 SEC. It is nothing and more than nothing. Where is the clock to show us how the stars stand?
But the ruins prove it. They prove that I am the future. I am alive. You are dead.
Everything in me denies this. My heart beats. My stomach hungers. My mouth thirsts. No, not dead. Not alive. Either of us. More alive than anything else. Caught between is more like it. 2 strangers passing in the night. That is it. 2 strangers passing. Ruins, you say?
Yes. You're afraid?
Who wants to see the future? Whoever does. A man can face the past, but to think the pillars crumbled, you say, and the sea empty, and the canals dry, and the maidens dead, and the flowers withered. But there they are. I see them. Isn't that enough for me? They wait for me now, no matter what you say.
And the rockets, waiting for me in the town and the women from Earth. we can never agree.
Let us agree to disagree. What does it matter who is past or future if we are both alive? For what follows will follow, tomorrow or in 10,000 years. How do you know that those temples are not the temples of your own civilization 100 centuries from now? Tumbled and broken. You do not know. Then don't ask. But the night is very short. There go the festival fires in the sky, and the birds.
Will we meet again?
Who knows? Perhaps some other night.
I'd like to go with you to that festival.
And I wish I might come to your new town, to see this ship you speak of, to see these men, to hear all that has happened.
Goodbye.
Good night.
October 2033. The Shore. Mars was a different shore, and the men spread upon it in waves, each wave different and each wave stronger. The first wave carried with it men accustomed to spaces and coldness and being alone, the coyote and the cattleman, with no fat on them, with faces the years had worn the flesh off, with eyes like nail heads and hands like the material of old gloves, ready to tough anything. Mars could do nothing for them. They were the first men.
Everyone knew who the first women would be. The second men should have traveled from other countries with other accents and other ideas. But the rockets were American, and the men were American, and it stayed that way. While Europe and Asia and South America and Australia and the islands watched the Roman candles leave them behind. The rest of the world was buried in war, or the thoughts of war.
So the second men were Americans also, and they came from the cabbage tenements and subways.
And they found much rest and vacation in the company of the silent men from the tumbleweed states, who knew how to use silences, so they filled you up with peace after long years crushed in tubes, tins, and boxes in New York.
And among the second men were men who looked by their eyes as if they were on their way to God.
November 2033. The fire balloons. Mars?
Yes, Father Peregrine, Mars.
But what would I...
You will captain the missionaries with Father Stone at your side.
Mars.
You hesitate.
No, Bishop Warren, but why me?
I find my reasons deplorably obscure, Father, but your pamphlet on planetary sin did not go unread.
Oh.
You are a flexible man, and Mars is like that uncleaned closet we have neglected for millenniums. Sin has collected there like bric-a-brac. Mars is twice Earth's age, and has had double the number of Saturday nights, liquor baths, and eye-poppings at women as naked as white seals. When we open that closet's door, things will fall on us. We need a quick, flexible man whose mind can dodge. Anyone a little dogmatic might break in two. I feel you're resilient, Father. The job is yours.
Yes, thank you, Bishop Warren.
I know you will go with God to prepare the Martians for the reception of his truth. I wish you all a thoughtful journey.
Mars.
Yes, Father Stone.
Father Peregrine, you're very quiet for someone who pinwheels to Mars at dawn. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, should we go at all? Shouldn't we solve our own sins on Earth? Aren't we running from our lives here?
Running?
Or is it sloth?
You dread the journey.
I shall go, leaving old sins here, and on Mars to find new sins? Sins no one's ever thought of. On Mars, sin might appear as a virtue. You must guard against virtuous acts there that later might be found to be sins. Dread the journey? No. It is exciting. It's been centuries since so much adventure has accompanied the prospect of being a missionary.
I will recognize sin, even on Mars.
Oh, we priests pride ourselves on being litmus paper, changing color at sin's presence. But what if Martian chemistry is such that we do not color at all? If there are new senses on Mars, you must admit the possibility of unrecognizable sin.
If there is no malice aforethought, there is no sin or punishment for same. The Lord assures us that.
On Earth, yes. But perhaps Martian sin might inform the subconscious of its evil, telepathically, leaving the conscious mind of man free to act, seemingly without malice. What then?
What could there be in the way of new sins?
Adam alone did not sin. Add Eve and you add temptation. Add a second man and you make adultery possible. With the addition of sex or people, you add sin. If men were harmless, they could not strangle with their hands. You would not have that particular sin of new violence. Amoebas cannot sin because they reproduce by fission. They do not covet wives or murder each other. Add sex to amoebas, add arms, legs, and you would add or subtract possible evil. On Mars, what if there were 5 new senses, organs, invisible limbs we can't conceive of? Then mightn't there be 5 new sins?
I think you enjoy this thing.
Keep my mind alive, Father. Just alive, that's all.
Your mind is always juggling, isn't it? Mirrors, torches, plates.
Yes. Because sometimes the church seems like those posed circus tableaus where the curtain lifts and men, white zinc oxide, talcum-powdered statues, freeze to represent abstract beauty. Very wonderful. But I hope there will always be room for me to dart about among the statues. Don't you, Father Stone?
We'll see. In a few hours, we'll be jumping up to see your new sins, Father Peregrine.
I wonder.
What, Father?
If Mars is hell. Only waiting for our arrival before it bursts into brimstone and fire.
Lord be with us.
You are a flexible man, and Mars is like that uncleaned closet we have neglected for millenniums. Sin has collected there like bric-a-brac.
Coming out of space was like coming out of the most beautiful cathedral we had ever seen. Touching Mars was like touching the ordinary pavement outside the church 5 minutes after having really known your love for God. Lord, we thank Thee for the journey through Thy rooms. And Lord, we have reached a new land, so we must have new eyes. We shall hear new sounds and must needs have new ears. And there will be new sins, for which we ask the gift of better and firmer and purer hearts. Amen.
Father Peregrine?
Yes, Captain Whitney.
The crew will have your cargo unloaded shortly.
Thank you, Captain.
And just over there is First Town. You can just about see the roofs over the top of the hill. Follow the path and it'll take you right to it.
Thank you, Captain.
Now, if you'll excuse me.
Yes, of course.
Shall we?
Hello! Hello there!
It looks like someone has come to meet us.
Oh, hello, hello.
Hello.
You must be Father Peregrine.
Yes, I am.
I am the mayor of First Town.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, it's very nice to meet you.
We saw your landing. Now what can I do for you, Father?
Well, we'd like to know about the Martians, for only if we know about them can we plan our church intelligently. Are they 10 feet tall? We will build large doors. Are their skins blue, red, or green? We must know when we put human figures in the stained glass so we may use the right skin color. Are they heavy? We will build sturdy seats for them.
Father, I don't think you should worry about the Martians. There are 2 races. One of them is pretty well dead. A few are in hiding. And the second race, well, they're not quite human.
Oh?
They're round, luminous globes of light, Father, living in those hills. Man or beast, who can say? But they act intelligently, I hear. Of course, they're not men, so I don't think you'll care.
On the contrary, intelligent, you say?
There's a story. A prospector broke his leg in those hills and would have died there. The blue spheres of light came at him. When he awoke, he was down on the highway and didn't know how he got there.
Drunk.
That's the story. Father Peregrine, with most of the Martians dead, and only those blue spheres, I frankly think you'd be better off in First City.
Oh?
Mars is opening up. It's a frontier now, like in the old days on Earth, out west and in Alaska. Men are pouring in up there. There are a couple of thousand black Irish mechanics and miners and day laborers in First Town who need saving, because there are too many wicked women came with them, and too much 10-century-old Martian wine.
Well, Father?
Spheres of blue fire.
Yes, Father.
Blue balloons. A circus!
Mayor, could your black Irish laborers cook one more day in Hellfire?
I'd turn them and baste them for you, Father.
Then that's where we'll go.
Where?
The hills.
The hills?
It would be so simple to go into town. I prefer to think that if the Lord walked here and people said, "Here is a beaten path," he would reply, "Show me the weeds, and I will make a path."
But...
Father Stone, think of how it would weigh upon us if we passed sinners by and did not extend our hands.
But globes of fire?
I imagine man looked funny to other animals when we first appeared. Yet he has a soul, for all his homeliness. Until we prove otherwise, let us assume that these fiery spheres have souls.
All right. But you'll be back to town.
We'll see. First, some breakfast. Then you and I, Father Stone, will walk alone in the hills. I don't want to frighten those fiery Martians with machines or crowds. Shall we have breakfast? Would you join us, Mayor?
Yes, thank you. Don't mind if I do.
The night is upon us, and I must sit for a moment. I never thought a rock would be so comfortable.
Why haven't they appeared? We've been looking for hours.
It's a disappointment.
I wonder.
What?
Do you think if we called out, hello, they might answer?
Father Peregrine, won't you ever be serious?
Not until the good Lord is.
Father!
Oh, don't look so terribly shocked. The Lord is not serious. In fact, it's a little hard to know just what else he is except loving. And love has to do with humor, doesn't it? For you cannot love someone constantly unless you can laugh at him. Isn't that true?
Well...
And you cannot put up with someone constantly unless you can laugh at him. Isn't that true?
I never thought of God as humorous.
The creator of the platypus, the camel, the ostrich, and man? Oh, come now!
Look! Monsters!
Wait!
We should have gone to town.
No! Listen! Look!
I'm afraid.
Don't be. This is God's work.
The devil's?
No! Now quiet. Not one, but 1,000. 1,000 whispering fire balloons.
Let's go. Please, Father.
I must speak to them. Hello! We come with God!
Silly. In the name of God, Father Peregrine, stop!
No! Don't go! Come back!
Look what you've done!
Oh, Lord!
An avalanche! We have to run!
There's no time!
Run! No! What happened? We should have been crushed. Look. The boulders from the avalanche, right where we were standing. What happened?
The blue fires lifted us.
We ran. That was it.
No, the globe saved us.
They couldn't!
They did!
Let's get away from here. You'll have us killed.
I haven't feared death for a good many years, Father Stone.
We've proved nothing. Those blue lights ran off at the first cry. It's useless.
No, somehow they saved us. That proves they have souls.
It proves only that they might have saved us. Everything was very confused. We might have escaped ourselves. It's getting cold. I'll get a fire started.
They are not animals, Father Stone. Animals do not save lives, especially of strangers. There's a mercy and a compassion here. Perhaps tomorrow we may prove more.
Prove what? How? Follow them in helicopters, reading chapter and verse? They're not human. They haven't eyes or ears or bodies like ours.
But I feel something about them. I know a great revelation is at hand. They saved us. They think. They had a choice. Let us live or die. That proves free will.
I myself will open a convent for nursling geese, a monastery for sainted swine, and I shall build a miniature apse in a microscope so that Paramecium can attend services and tell their beads with the flagella.
Oh, Father Stone.
I'm sorry, but this is like blessing a crocodile before he chews you up. You're risking the entire missionary expedition.
What do you mean?
We belong in First Town, washing liquor from men's throats and perfume off their hands.
Can't you recognize the human in the inhuman?
I'd much rather recognize the inhuman in the human.
If I prove these things sin, no immoral life, have free will and intellect, Father Stone.
That will take much convincing. Not Adam and Eve on Mars. No original sin. Maybe the Martians live in a state of God's grace. Then, can we go back down to town and start work on the Earthmen?
Yes, Father Stone, but the Martians killed some of our settlers. Now, that's sinful. There must have been original sin. And a Martian Adam and Eve. We'll find them. Men are men, unfortunately, no matter what their shape. And inclined to sin. You're back. Father Stone, look. You're floating there, watching me. You are human, I know it. I need to prove it. Or the bishop telling me to step aside. How to prove humanity if you live in the high vaults of the sky? How to bring you nearer and provide answers to the many questions? You saved us from the avalanche. Yes. This cliff, it drops off to a floor nearly 200 feet below. If I fell from here, it would surely kill me. The Lord would never forgive me. It wouldn't be suicide, would it? If I did it out of love? Hello? Hello? I must prove everything. I'm an old man. I'm not afraid. Surely the Lord would understand that I'm doing this for Him. In a moment, shall I die? I'm afraid that I love living too much. But I love things more. 1, 2. Oh! What? You saved me. You wouldn't let me die. You knew it was wrong.
Who saved you?
I told you. They saved me. I jumped from the cliff. They flew after me. They got hold of me, slowed my speed, and I landed gently on the ground. A 200-foot fall.
A dream. A nightmare. Here, the coffee is ready.
But I was awake.
Now, Father. Calm yourself. There now.
You don't believe me? Have you a gun?
You know I do. For protection.
Let me have it.
What are you going to do?
I'll prove it.
Wait. Why are you pointing it at your hand? No! The bullet stopped. It's just hanging there, in the air, 1 inch from your hand.
Surrounded by a phosphorescent blue light. The light moves away. The bullet drops. And look, the fire balloons. They're here. They know. They understand. They are not animals. They think and judge and live in a moral climate. What animal would save me from myself like this? There is no animal would do that. Only another man, Father. Now, do you believe?
The bullet. It's still warm.
I think we had better go down to the others and tell them of this. And bring them back up here. This circle signifies Christ, the Son of the Father. This is Christ in all his glory.
It looks like a geometry problem.
A fortunate comparison, for we deal with symbols here. Christ is no less Christ, you must admit, in being represented by a circle or a square. For centuries the cross has symbolized his love and agony, so this circle will be the Martian Christ. This is how we shall bring him to Mars. You, Brother Matthias, will create in glass a replica of this circle, a globe filled with bright fire. It will stand upon the altar.
A cheap magic trick?
On the contrary, we're giving them God in an understandable image. If Christ had come to us on earth as an octopus, would we have accepted him readily? Was it then a cheap magic trick of the Lord's to bring us Christ through Jesus in man's shape? After we bless the church we build here and sanctify its altar and this symbol, do you think Christ would refuse to inhabit the shape before us? You know in your hearts he would not refuse.
But the body of a soulless animal?
We've gone over that many times since we returned this morning, Brother Matthias. These creatures saved us from the avalanche. They realized that self-destruction was sinful and prevented it time after time. Therefore, we must build a church in the hills, live with them, to find their own special ways of sinning, the alien ways, and help them to discover God. Is it because they are so odd to the eye? But what is a shape? Only a cup for the blazing soul that God provides us all? If tomorrow I found that sea lions suddenly possessed free will, intellect, knew when and when not to sin, knew what life was and tempered justice with mercy and life with love, then I would build an undersea cathedral. And if the sparrows should miraculously, with God's will, gain everlasting souls tomorrow, I would freight a church with helium and take after them. For all souls, in any shape, if they have free will and are aware of their sins, will burn in hell unless given their rightful communions. I would not let a Martian sphere burn in hell either, for it is a sphere only in mine eyes. When I close my eyes, it stands before me, an intelligence, a love, a soul, and I must not deny it.
But that glass globe you wish placed on the altar.
Consider the Chinese. What sort of Christ do Christian Chinese worship? An Asian Christ, naturally. You've all seen Asian nativity scenes. How is Christ dressed? In Eastern robes. Where does he walk? In Chinese settings of bamboo and misty mountains and crooked trees. His eyelids taper, his cheekbones rise. Each country, each race adds something to our Lord. I am reminded of the Virgin of Guadalupe, to whom all Mexico pays its love. Her skin? Have you noticed the paintings of her? A dark skin like that of her worshippers. Is that blasphemy? Not at all. It is not logical that men should accept a god, no matter how real, of another color. I often wondered why our missionaries do well in Africa with a snow-white Christ. Perhaps because white is a sacred color in albino or in any other form to the African tribes. Given time, mightn't Christ darken there too? The form does not matter. The content is everything. We cannot expect these Martians to accept an alien form. We shall give them Christ in their own image.
There's a flaw in your reasoning, Father.
Yes, Father Stone?
Won't the Martians suspect us of hypocrisy?
How do you mean?
They will realize that we don't worship a round, globular Christ, but a man with limbs and a head. How do we explain the difference?
By showing there is none. Christ will fill any vessel that is offered, bodies or globes. He is there, and each will worship the same thing in a different guise. We must believe in this globe we give to the Martians. We must believe in a shape which is meaningless to us as to form. The spheroid will be Christ. And we must remember that we ourselves and the shape of our Earth Christ would be meaningless, ridiculous, a squander of material to these Martians. Now, let us go into the hills and build our church. The church was not a church, but an area cleared of rocks, a plateau on one of the low mountains, its soil smooth and brushed, an altar established whereon Brother Matthias placed the fiery globe he had constructed.
What shall we do with this? What does a bell mean to them?
I imagine I brought it for our own comfort. We need a few familiarities. This church seems so little like a church. And we feel somewhat absurd here. Even I. For it is something new, this business of converting creatures of another world. I feel like a ridiculous play actor at times. And then, I pray to God to lend me strength.
Many of the fathers are unhappy. Some of them joke about all this, Father Peregrine.
I know. We'll put this bell in a small tower for their comfort anyway.
What about the organ?
We'll play it now, at the first service.
But the Martians...
I know, but again, I suppose for our own comfort, our own music. Later we may discover theirs. I wonder if it is Sunday here on Mars. Well, it might be Tuesday or Thursday, who knows? But no matter. My idle fancy. It is Sunday to us. Come.
It's cold. Almost freezing. Well, Father Peregrine, the sun is rising. I don't see our friends.
They'll come. Let us pray. Let us ask them to come. They read minds. They know.
Look. There. The fiery globes.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Lord.
We have come for a little while.
You may stay.
For a little while. We have come to tell you certain things. We should have spoken sooner, but we had hoped that you might go on your way if left alone.
But I...
We are the old ones. We are the old Martians who left our marble cities and went into the hills, forsaking the material life we had lived. So very long ago we became these things that we now are. Once we were men, with bodies and legs and arms such as yours. The legend has it that one of us, a good man, discovered a way to free man's soul and intellect, to free him of bodily ills and melancholies, of deaths and transfigurations, of ill humors and senilities. and so we took on the look of lightning and blue fire, and have lived in the winds and skies and hills forever after that. Neither prideful nor arrogant, neither rich nor poor, passionate nor cold. We have lived apart from those we left behind, those other men of this world, and how we came to be has been forgotten, the process lost. But we shall never die, nor do harm. We have put away the sins of the body and live in God's grace. We covet no other property. We have no property. We do not steal, nor kill, nor lust, nor hate. We live in happiness. We cannot reproduce. We do not eat, or drink, or make war. All the sensualities and childishness and sins of the body were stripped away when our bodies were put aside. We have left sin behind, Father Peregrine, and it has burned like the leaves of autumn wicker, and it is gone like the soiled snow of an evil winter, and it is gone like the sensual flowers of a red and yellow spring, and it is gone like the panting nights of hottest summer, and our season is temperate, and our clime is rich in thought. We wish to tell you that we appreciate your building this place for us, but we have no need of it. For each of us is a temple unto himself, and we need no place wherein to cleanse ourselves. Forgive us for not coming to you sooner, but we are separate and apart, and have talked to no one for 10,000 years, nor have we interfered in any way with the life on this planet. It has come into this mind now that we are the lilies of the field.
Why, yes. Yes.
We toil not, neither do we spin. You are right. And so we suggest that you take the parts of this temple into your own new cities, and there cleanse them. For rest assured, we are happy and at peace.
May I come again someday, that I might learn from you?
Yes. Someday.
Come back! Come back! No. We couldn't build a church for the likes of you. Your beauty itself. What church could compete with the fireworks of the pure soul?
The way I see it, there's a truth on every planet. All parts of the big truth. On a certain day, they'll all fit together like the pieces of a jigsaw. This has been a shaking experience. I'll never doubt again, Father Peregrine. For this truth here is as true as Earth's truth, and they lie side by side, and will go on to the other worlds, adding the sum of the parts of the truth until one day the whole total will stand before us like the light of a new day.
That's a lot coming from you, Father Stone.
I'm sorry now. In a way, we're going down to the town to handle our own kind. Those blue lights now, when they settled about us, and that voice, the glass sphere on the altar. You know, Father Peregrine.
Yes?
It's him. It is him. After all.
This is the end of disc number 3. Please insert disc number 4.